So good morning and good evening, Mr. X's class. We're here to talk about the word derive, which is a verb. It has two meanings. It means to come from or develop from something. So that would be like, for a sentence, we could say over here, many English words derive from Greek and Latin roots. So what does that mean? That means come from. So it started with a Greek and Latin root, and then that turned into our word. Our word, the origin, the beginning of our word is Greek and Latin roots. So derived from means come from, an origin, something where something comes from. So I'll make a sentence down here with that definition too. We could say, can anyone tell me the name of a Mexican dance? I'm trying to think. Yeah, or music. Oh, I'll just say music. Okay. El jarabe tapatio derives from which state? From Jalisco, right?
Jalisco, yeah.
Okay. I know that one. Although when I was in school, they called it the Mexican hat dance, which is really not very nice. There's so many dances. It was a pretty racist thing to call it. But if I think about it now, I remember when I was in elementary school, people called it that. As though that was the only dance that anybody ever did in Mexico. Okay, so El Jarabe Tapatio, the dance, derives from the state of Mexico. So we often use derive, use from.
Oh, okay.
Usually use from with it. So just like here in my example over here, English words derive from Greek and Latin roots. So yeah, you have to say the word from. Second meaning, to get something from something. This one might be a little bit, you might say, well, how do I use that? To get something from something. So here are some ways that it's often used. It's often used for chemicals, mathematical formulas, or ideas. So chemicals would be like, if you want to make, I want to make, and I don't know enough chemistry to make a correct sentence really with this, but if you want to make hydrochloric acid, you have to combine two other things. Mm-hmm. So we could say the final thing derives from, we derive, sorry, that would be definition one. Definition two would be like, we derive, and that's an R and a V. We derive hydrochloric acid from, I don't know, hydrogen and chlorine. I know those are things that are in it. I don't know if that's actually what you do. This is a good opportunity for people to go ask their science teacher if I'm wrong. But the sentence has there's the right idea, which is we derive, we get, we obtain this from, and then we have like the ingredients that we put in. So often used for chemicals. Okay, also for mathematical formulas. So we can derive or formulas or numbers sometimes, right? Like pi. We derive pi by looking at a circle, by analyzing the circle. We can derive the Pythagorean theorem. You guys heard of that? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. From the properties of a triangle. So it's like, where do you get the formula, the mathematical formula? You need to, you get it from somewhere. It doesn't come from nowhere. When you make a mathematical formula, you have to prove that it's true. You have to get it from somewhere. So if you get if someone says derive that formula, that means show where it comes from. How do we know that it's true? Don't just say, oh, it's true, but say like, we derive it because pi comes from, it's a relationship between the circumference and the radius of a circle, right? So we measure a bunch of circles, we can show that. We can derive it. So that means we get the formula from measuring circles and seeing what circles are like. So we can use it for, chemicals, mathematical formulas, or ideas. And there might be some other cases, but these are ones that came to my mind as common uses of definition 2. So ideas. So we could say the philosopher, you could use this for academic things like derived his theory from Plato's concepts. Platon. So sometimes, when academic people are making ideas, theories, they get them from somebody else's idea. They start with somebody else's idea and then they change it and they make their idea. So that's like they get the idea from another idea. So those are three situations where we can use derived definition 2. And we need to go over this part as well. Spanish, derivad. Word families, derivation. The derivation is, often we say the derivation of something is like the process of deriving it. What is the derivation of this? How did we derive it? Derivative is a word from math. When you take calculus, it's calculus. And I took calculus too long ago to explain it exactly, but it has to do with the slope of a line, I know that. When you take calculus, you'll learn what that is, the noun. Derivative adjective means it comes from something else, so it's not original. So that's a derivative idea. That's if you want to insult an artist or a writer, you say, well, that's just a derivative idea. He or she is not being original. He just copied from somebody else. So, got the idea from somebody else, from definition 2. That's derivative adjective. Usually negative connotation, like not original. And then derived, something is derived from something, we could say like hydrochloric acid is derived from hydrogen and chlorine, for example. Where does it come from? And I'm talking pretty fast. Does anybody have questions about these right now? Okay. Synonyms, number 1, arise from, come from, or originate. And number 2, arrive at or generate. So how do we generate this formula in math? We start with something, and when we figure out what the formula is, we generate it, we derive it. We get the formula from something, other information. Okay, are there any more questions? Should I repeat something? All right, here are the sentences. There are a lot of them today. And thank you very much for watching. Thanks for videotaping.